Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time on Guitars and Gear, I've got a unique Stratocaster for you to check out, I've got an amazing delay pedal, and I've got a tip on changing strings with floating tremolos. Let's get started. The guitar we have today is a Custom Shop 1960s Mahogany Stratocaster. It's different from a regular Stratocaster in a number of ways. For example, it actually has a mahogany body, thus the name. Most Stratocasters will have an alder or an ash body, which gives them a little brighter tone. The mahogany body on this is more similar to what you'd find on a Gibson SG or a Les Paul Special, something like that. And what it does is it gives the Stratocaster a little bit more mid-range punch, a little bit more warmth on the top end. It's a nice sounding guitar with a lot of resonance and sustain. When we move to the neck, we've got a quadruple A figured flame maple neck. The figure on the back is absolutely gorgeous. On the front, the fingerboard is equally figured, and they haven't covered that up with dot inlays. The only inlay on it is actually on the 7th fret. Now we do have dots along the side of the fretboard, so you still have your position markers so you know where you're at. It really doesn't bother me not having them on the front at all, and you can still see all that gorgeous figuring there. The pickups in this guitar are Fender's Fat 50s, and these are among my favorite Fender pickups. They're actually the ones that I have in my own personal Stratocaster. They have a nice bell-like tone to them with a good bottom end, nice round, and a thick mid-range, but a nice sparkle on top and a lot of chime to them. I like these pickups a lot. We have the standard Stratocaster controls. We have a master volume control, neck and middle pickup tone controls, and the 5-way selector switch, so standard there. But between the mahogany body, this gorgeous neck, and those Fat 50s pickups, this is really a special guitar. This is a master-built guitar from the Fender Custom Shop, so it's a one-of-a-kind instrument, and it really shows in the attention to detail, the quality of the finish, the quality of the tone woods, and the overall sound of the instrument. For example, here's the bridge pickup. Nice and fat, but it has that Stratocaster top end that's so distinctive. When we move to the middle pickup, brings in more fatness, again, that distinctive Stratocaster middle pickup sound. When we go to the neck, we've got that singing tone with all that articulation in the top end. It's a beautiful neck pickup in this guitar. If you're looking for a Stratocaster with a little something different, just a twist on the original formula, the mahogany body on this Strat gives it an extra resonance, an extra mid-range punch, and a nice warm top end that really can't be beat. It's a wonderful Stratocaster. I highly recommend checking it out. This is the Pigtronix Echolution delay pedal, an incredibly versatile delay pedal that can create a lot of different sounds and has tons of different control options. Let's take a closer look. Now this looks like a complex pedal, but actually when you break it down into the different sections, it's very easy to get around on. On the upper right here, we have the input section. We've got our drive control, which sets the input level. We've got a blend control that determines the balance between the delay and the dry signal. We've got the feedback control, which determines the number of repeats, and the high cut, which is a tone control for the delay sound. On the upper left of the pedal, we have a modulation section. In this section, using the modulation delay switch, we can turn on a tremolo effect that affects the delay sound. We also have a chorus effect that can affect the delay sound. We have an LFO speed that determines how those effects work. And then this is also where we set our master delay time. The center section, where we have these 10 switches, is where things really get fun. The first switch up here is kind of the master delay switch. It sets the overall delay time. You can have a short delay time, a medium delay time, or a long delay time that's then adjusted using the delay time knob. Next up, we have the trail switch. When the trail switch is off, when you bypass the pedal, the delay stops. When trail switch is on, when you bypass the pedal, the delays keep going, so you get a trailing off effect even though you've turned the pedal off. The next set of switches over here in the red determine taps within the delay. So we set our overall delay time using the delay time knob and the modulation delay time switch, but then we can flick a switch here that sets up a half time delay, a third time delay, quarter time, So you can get different taps in there to create rhythmic effects. I'll show you that in just a second. We also have a switch here for setting those delay taps to the golden mean, which gives them a more even kind of a sound. The last two switches are the reverse switch and the loop switch. The reverse switch flips the delays around so that they play back backward. The loop switch turns the pedal into a basic looper so that you can have a repeating part, a loop that you can play over the top of. In addition to that, we have other control options as well. We have a tap tempo switch for setting the delay time. We have an expression pedal that can be used to modulate the delay time. And we also have a remote switch that can be assigned to different functions. The pedal can be run either mono or stereo. Now let's take a listen to some of the different sounds it can create. Let's begin with the basic delay sound. I've got the delay time set to a pretty long delay time. I've got the feedback set, so we've got a few repeats, and the blend control is set to about 50%. So a nice straight ahead basic delay. But now we can turn on the multi-tap function by hitting the switches in the red section of the pedal. What these do is actually split that delay time and bring in divisions within the overall delay time to give us rhythmic effects. So we can hit the half switch, which brings in a tap that's halfway along the delay time. So our original. Now we'll add the half-time switch. But the fun comes when we start using some of the other switches. I'll turn on the third switch. This is where you can start getting rhythmic delay effects. So you can have a lot of fun there by playing with these different switches, the different multi-tap functions that are available in the pedal. Now let's switch to a little shorter delay time and check out some of the modulation capabilities. So here's our basic delay. Now if we add in the tremolo effect, you can hear that pulsating effect is actually added onto the delay trail. If we turn on the chorus setting, that chorus effect is added onto the delay trail, so we get a nice modulation effect on the overall tone. Now let's check out the reverse delay effect. Here's a setting with the reverse turned off. So it's our standard straight ahead delay sound. When we flip the reverse switch, the delay effect is turned around so the repeats actually play backward. So you can get some nice backward tape effects, you can get a nice textural effects when you add that in on top of the chords. So a lot of flexibility there when you combine that with, again, the modulation effects that we have and the multi-tap effects we have. The Echolution pedal is tremendously flexible. Lots and lots of sounds in here. You could spend days just playing with the different combinations of switches and coming up with different rhythms. When you combine all of it together, an amazingly powerful echo pedal. Floating tremolos on guitars can create some unique challenges when you're changing strings and trying to get in tune. What happens is, as you take a string off, or as you change the tuning of a string, all the rest of the strings tend to go out of tune because you're changing the tension on this fulcrum point where the bridge balances. Now there are a couple different ways that guys get around this. Some people will shove something under the back of the bridge to hold it in place and maintain that tension. What I like to do is I like to change the strings in a specific order, and I like to tune up in a specific order as well, and that seems to keep the tension more balanced. So when I'm changing strings or when I'm tuning up on a guitar with a floating tremolo, I'll take one of two approaches. Basically what I'll try to do is maintain the balance. So I may start with a low E string, go to the high E string, go to the A string, go to the B string, go to the G string, then go to the D string. So that I'm working my way across, and as I'm pulling on the bass side, I'm also pulling on the treble side, and that seems to create a better balance. In some cases, I'll also work from the center out. So I'll start with the D string, then go to the G string, then maybe I'll jump to that low E string, then the high E string, then the A and the B. But the idea, again, is to keep that balance going across the thicker strings and the thinner strings so that as you're pulling things into tune, when you're changing strings or you're tuning up, the tension remains more balanced, and it's a lot faster and a lot more accurate to get into tune. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll be talking more guitars and making more music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.